सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
In this episode of Politically Correct, I'm going to share with you my takeaways from the All India Congress Committee plenary session that concluded in Raipur. To start with, let me tell you some interesting stories, basically fly on the wall account of what the Congress top guns discussed and did for 3 days in Raipur. On the first day, the party decided not to hold elections to the Congress Working Committee or CWC, the party's top decision-making body. It authorized Party President Mallikarjun Kharge to nominate CWC members. As you know, CWC consists of the Party President, its Parliamentary Party Leader, and 23 others, 12 of whom are elected, while the remaining 11 are nominated as per the party constitution. After Mallikarjun Kharge's election as Congress President, people were hoping that there would be a push for more democratization and elections would be held for 12 CWC members. But it was not to be. There were interesting reasons cited to oppose election. For instance, Pramod Tiwari gave 2 reasons for not holding election. First, that if Congress leaders contest against one another, it would send a wrong message ahead of elections in Karnataka and other states. The second reason cited was that if there are elections, smaller states won't get representation in the CWC. What was more interesting was how members of the so-called G23 like Anand Sharma and Mukul Wasnik also spoke against holding elections. There were 3 leaders who wanted elections: Digvijay Singh, Ajay Maken and Abhishek Manu Singhvi. Maken was the most vocal. He said if elections are not held because they are assembly elections, tell me 1 year when there would be no elections. The smaller states will always be there. If you don't want to hold elections, change the party's constitution. That's what Maken said. But pro-election group was in a huge minority. The 3 Gandhis skipped that meeting. In my view, the idea behind it was to give the Gandhis deniability. Because they were not there, one could not accuse them of continuing nomination culture in the Congress. Not many in the Congress were convinced though. As the election or nomination debate was on, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, the irrepressible party leader in the Lok Sabha, he sought to score some brownies. He said, why can't we let Mallikarjun Kharge nominate CWC members? He is 80 years old, he is a Dalit leader, but Chaudhary was unaware that his new party president does not wear his Dalit identity on his sleeve. Kharge in fact sounded irritated. Arey kya Dalit karta rehta hai? I mean, why do you keep saying Dalit? Am I capable just because I am a Dalit? Kharge said. Anyway, in a nutshell, the Gandhis had their way. There were no elections to the CWC. One of the demands made by the party ginger group, G23, in a letter to Sonia Gandhi way back in August 2020. The party authorized the party president, Kharge, a Gandhi family loyalist, to nominate all CWC members. There were some other decisions of course. So, for instance, you have right now CWC comprises 23 members, 12 elected, 11 nominated, plus the party president and the parliamentary party leader. Now they have decided to increase the number to 35. So you will have 18 members who would be elected as per the party amended constitution, 18 elected and 17 nominated. Besides, they have decided to have former party presidents, Congress Prime Minister and former Prime Ministers as members of the CWC. So when you say former party presidents, that means, okay, so Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi don't have to contest election, if there are elections of course. Anyway, the decision not to hold elections did not really go down well with the 15,000 delegates who were there to attend the Congress's 85th plenary session. At one point in time, in fact on Sunday, when leaders were making speeches, the delegates' lack of interest became so obvious that top leaders sitting on the dais thought that the sound system was not working because there was no response from the audience, no clapping, no slogans, no shouting. So those sitting on the dais sent a person down among the audience to check if they were able to hear their speeches. They found out that there was nothing wrong with the sound system. Lack of interest in the proceedings was genuine. Most of the Congress delegates seemed to be, going through the rigmarole. Everybody was expecting CWC elections. That didn't happen. They were expecting something different with a non-Gandhi at the helm. But it was the same old pattern, with most speakers trying to outdo each other in praising the Gandhis. A few small groups of Sevadal and Youth Congress workers who were kind of posted at strategic locations, they were there. So they started making slogans when Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi came to speak. But there was little response from the rest of the crowd, which was waiting for the proceedings to get over and leave. That's why I'm talking about lack of interest. In the meantime, speeches continued, almost entirely centered on the Gandhis. Everybody would start with Hamari Prerna Srot, like our source of inspiration, and Tyag Ki Murti, statue of sacrifice, Sonia Gandhi. There were similar words of praise for Rahul Gandhi. So Youth Congress leader B.V. Srinivas said, जब राहुल गांधी चल रहे थे, बीजेपी आरएसएस वाले जल रहे थे. So when Rahul Gandhi was walking that Bharat Jodo Yatra, BJP RSS people were burning in envy. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu, he said, in 2009 Rahul Gandhi could have become the Prime Minister as Manmohan Singh wanted him to. Basically, he was trying to project Rahul as another Tyag Ki Murti. The audience was not impressed. There was no clapping in response. Nobody in the world has walked so much for 4,000 kilometers. We should see that Rahulji becomes the Prime Minister in 2024. There was another delegate from Tamil Nadu saying that. Then there is this Congress MP from this state, Jyotimani. She said that it was a defining moment for women's empowerment when women felt safe to hold the hands of a leader, that is Rahul Gandhi. Another gem. So, Congress's legislative party leader in Gujarat, Amit Chawda, he found a Naya Gandhi, a new Gandhi, in Rahul's, what he called, Tyag or Samarpan Ki Murti, statue of sacrifice and dedication. Throughout those 3 days, starting with the steering committee meeting and subject committee meetings on the first, there was just one more person other than Adhir Chaudhary who had a few words to say about Mallikarjun Kharge. His name was Rajesh Lilothia, chairman of the party's scheduled caste department. So he said, Mallikarjun Kharge is yug ke Ambedkar hai, is the Ambedkar of this era. The rest of the speakers focused on praising the 3 Gandhis in what was supposed to be a brainstorming session to lay the roadmap for the Congress's revival. It was all about psychophancy. When Priyanka Vadra spoke, she did seem to connect with the delegates. She spoke about Anokhi Lale, Yatri who carried the flag from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, another one who walked barefoot all through the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and a few other dedicated workers. She said that in Uttar Pradesh, Congress workers call themselves lifelong sufferers as they have to struggle all their life. Although she struck a chord, it was a side show as expected. The showstopper at the plenary session was to be Rahul Gandhi, whose Bharat Jodo Yatra remained the central theme. When he got up to speak, AICC General Secretary Kesu Venugopal, who by the way was constantly hanging around the Gandhi siblings, beckoned everyone on the dais to get up, and so they did. Venugopal got the brownie points. Rahul mostly spoke about his experiences from the yatra. Apart from the usual Modi, Adani, RSS bashing, what was remarkable about his speech was his self-discovery, I would say. Main, mujhe, mera, that's I, me, mine. These words figured as many as 112 times in his 47-minute long speech. So, two times, I, me, and my. You know what the message was. The entire thing was about him. All proceedings about him. The party was about him. There were just a couple of speakers who seemed to point out what's wrong with the party. After all, the plenary session was supposed to be an introspection of where the Congress was going wrong, what challenges it faces, and lay its future roadmap. So there was this delegate from West Bengal, Shankar, I'm forgetting his full name. He sought to draw attention to the party workers' plight in the state. He said, in the entire country, if any Congress persons are unhappy, they are in Bengal. We fought against the left for 35 years and have been fighting against the Trinamool Congress for 10 years. मैं कैसे सत्ता में आऊं, मेरी पार्टी कैसे सत्ता में आएगी, उस पर कोई प्रस्ताव नहीं है. Basically, there is no AICC resolution on how I will come to power and how my party will come to power in West Bengal. There is no discussions on that. If we are not in panchayat or at the booth level, how can we save the party, Shankar said. गोली से मार दो या कांग्रेस से निकाल दो. Either you shoot me or throw me out of the Congress. ममता से लड़ने के लिए हमें AICC की मदद चाहिए. We need AICC's help to fight against Mamta. That was Shankar, that AICC delegate from Bengal. I mean, he sounded like a discordant voice in a place where everyone else's main objective was to celebrate what they believed was a hugely successful Bharat Jodo Yatra. After being told twice in 5 minutes to wind up, Shankar, who was looking visibly dejected, left the dais. A few hours later, a better known and no nonsense speaker, Shashi Tharoor, he sought to drive home the point about the Congress's inconsistencies and ambivalence in terms of its ideological stances. He said, Congress should stand up for its foundational values. We should be absolutely clear about our ideological stances in favor of inclusive India. And mark his words, the tendency to downplay some positions or avoid taking a stand on some issues in order not to alienate what we assume to be the sentiments of the majority only plays into the BJP's hands. We must have the courage of our conviction. We could have been more vocal on the Bilkis Banu outrage, attacks on Christian churches, murder in the name of cow vigilantism, bulldozer demolitions in Muslim homes, and similar issues. These are Indian citizens who look to us for support. That was Tharoor, and he was, very clear about where the party was going wrong. Tharoor was making a lot of sense. He was trying to tell everyone what's wrong with the Congress today. He raised the most pertinent questions that the Congress has been evading. While Rahul Gandhi's Congress wants people to vote for his ideological battle against the BJP and the RSS, Congress leaders were not willing to discuss the crisis of conviction that Tharoor was flagging. It was so evident from the party's political resolution, which spoke of its commitment to restore statehood to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, but skirted any mention of Article 370. No delegates, nobody spoke this word 370, Article 370. This is the crisis of conviction Tharoor was talking about. Nobody spoke a word about Bilkis Banu case or cow vigilantism. Again, the same crisis of conviction. Say if you believe in it. You must have heard all these Congress leaders in Himachal Pradesh, everybody says because they won because of this old pension scheme. And Rajasthan also, they are just talking about it in everywhere. But in the economic resolution of the party, there was no mention of OPS or old pension scheme. Again, talk about crisis of conviction. The crisis that Tharoor highlighted should have been the central debating point for a party that seems so confused about its political and ideological moorings. Tharoor, however, looked isolated in that August gathering. What Bengal's Shankar said should have been the subject of a comprehensive discussion, given how the party workers have been left high and dry. So in Kerala, the Congress is the left's principal adversary. But in Tripura, it joined hands with the left. Despite the failure of a similar dalliance in West Bengal with the left. But the party's decision makers were ostensibly not bothered about these contradictions. So Shankar might be facing whatever the delegate, there must be thousands of Shankars in West Bengal today who were feeling like the same. But nobody was ready to address their concerns at the plenary session. That tells you about this, how it was all stage managed, choreographed, where everything had to be about the Gandhis. At the end of the plenary session, Kharge laid the roadmap for the Congress. He said, we have to carry forward what Rahulji has done by walking on rocky paths. What he said was, in Hindi, anyway, I'm forgetting that word. So, what he was saying, that we have to carry forward what Rahulji has done by walking on rocky paths. Bharat Jodo Yatra se yahi margdarshan mila hai. This is the guidance we have got from the Bharat Jodo Yatra. And you felt like saying, excuse me, Congress president talking about Rahul Gandhi's guidance. That too in front of 15,000 delegates from across the country. Well, one has to be a simpleton to think that a non-Gandhi Congress president would be anything but titular. Kharge's message to his party workers and voters was unmistakable. Gandhis are the Congress. Ask not what they can do for you. Ask what you can do for them. That's all from me in this episode of Politically Correct. Thanks for watching.